We got a small but interesting update for Fall Guys yesterday. And before I talk about the roadmap that was released on June 6th, I want to quickly go over what this update contains and some of the other information that we also got yesterday. Timestamps. Here they are. You know what they do. Skip to what you want to. First off, I want to start with the UI changes that we got in this update, starting with the slightly more bright and colorful lobby screen. Here are the changes that I've noticed so far. The play button is now a golden color, where it was previously blue. The view challenges button has also been changed from blue to that same golden color as well. The Fame Pass progress window now has a rounded box shape, much like the rest of the lobby screen. Previously, it had its own raffle ticket-like shape. It's been recolored to this interesting lavender color that is also dotted around other buttons on the lobby screen. The position of the Fame Pass progress window is now at the bottom of the screen, and your nameplate is now on the top left next to your crown rank. Very similar to how it was in Update 10.6 before they changed it in Update 10.7. Like I just mentioned, it feels like the lobby screen is a lot brighter in general, but that might just be the two new colors that they introduced standing out to my eyes. Let me know what you think. More UI changes can be seen in Explore mode. First off, the skip button is now giant and has a different keybind, which I'll talk about in a moment. Second, when you finish a level, you will notice that the level loading bar is much higher than before, and the like and dislike box is much lower than before. To be honest, I don't like how it looks, as it feels like they're not utilizing the screen space properly, but this is probably just to have an easier time fitting all this junk onto a mobile screen. Next up, we got two sets of quality of life improvements. The first being small space camera improvements, and the second being ledge grabbing improvements. Small space camera improvements is definitely the bigger change of the two. As you can see here, when I get close to this pipe, it zooms in real close and personal, so you can see what you're doing. This used to be a large issue in mazes or survival levels that had walls on the outside edges, making it very hard for you to see where you're going, and oftentimes led to a loss, if not just general frustration. Unfortunately, if the wall or object that you're trying to see through is rotating, the small space camera improvement doesn't seem to work as intended, sadly. Nonetheless, this is still a great quality of life change here. As for the ledge grabbing improvements, I can't say that I notice a difference in the speed of the ledge grabbing, but I do notice an improvement in the generosity or acceptance of a ledge grab input. For example, you can now grab the corner of push boxes, where before you would need to grab an edge or the grab wouldn't work. You can also be a little bit off in where you do your grab input, and it will give you the benefit of the doubt, snapping you to the ledge you want to grab. Finally, you can grab a few more surfaces that I don't think you previously could. You guys can let me know in the comments, but two examples of these are the creative circle platforms and ramps, now both grabbable with ease. That's all for the UI changes and improvements as far as I know of, so let's move on to the bug fixes and tweaks that were added in this update. There are 8 in particular that I want to talk about. Alright, our first bug fix is a fix to ensure that the correct amount of crowns earned are displayed on the results screen. And someone actually left a comment about this on my State of the Game 5 video, confused about how he was earning more crowns than were showing up. According to Top V2 or FG Updates Infos on Twitter, this has been a known issue since May 16th. He was one of the 3 players in the community who stumbled across the source of this issue, the others being FG Muffins and Shadowplay 1211. So apparently you can get crown shards after obtaining a certain amount of fame. According to the game's code, for every 250 fame you obtain after completing a game, you get 1 extra crown shard. The game wasn't showing these phantom shards on your crown rank screen until you reloaded the game, even though it had your correct count on their servers. Top used Beambot, a Discord app, to check his actual crown shard count, and there you can see the discrepancy. Now if you don't know, Explore mode has 2 constant values for rewards that you get no matter what the outcome. 500 fame for each level and 5 shards for each level. But there's also one more thing. If you completed the Fame Pass, Explorer will start giving you 8 shards per level played. So let's look at this example right here. I played 1 round and I've completed the Fame Pass. So I get 8 shards for playing the level plus 500 extra fame. We get the 8 original shards plus 2 extra and end up with 10 shards per level. Here's the same thing happening with 2 rounds played and with 3 rounds played. Yeah, so it's still a little weird. The challenges really mess up the formula, but for the most part, that is how it works. The most important thing though is that you will be shown the correct amount of crowns on your crown rank and lobby screen. The next fix is that Explore levels now have the correct music set by creators. This is just much better in general. One of those quality of life and atmosphere changes. You could be playing the spookiest round in the world and some goofy ass music like really ruins the vibe. Great fix for sure, but that does mean that 90% of the music in Explorer is going to be but that's a consequence I'm willing to live with. Number 3, Explore medals for survival should now show different medals than races. Before this update, every single round in Explorer, no matter if it was survival or course, would show the same icon. And it wasn't even the creative one, it was Gate Crash. Now the badges should show up different for each type of level. Unfortunately, I do not think this is working as intended right now. Number 4, there's a fix to player desync while observing other players crossing the drawbridge. Desync, for those who don't know, is essentially a difference or variance of what is happening on your screen versus what the server actually believes is happening. Here's an example of a few people on this level walking above what looks to be an open air, but they really see hexagon tiles that I do not. There used to be an issue with drawbridges not being timed on the round start, but rather by the client side of the user, meaning that different players would see the drawbridge up or down at different times. This led to players floating in the air on your screen or clipping through the bridge itself, even though on their screen they see a perfectly walkable bridge. Good to see that they fixed this. Number 5, they fixed an issue where invisibility could result in the character appearing completely white. This is something I never encountered. Let me know if you know which console or version of the game this was most common on. Maybe I've got lucky and I just have never seen it. Maybe I try my best to stay out of Explore mode survival levels. Maybe two things can be true at the same time. Number 6, the phrase wheel and emote wheel are now using the trigger buttons by default. The social wheels we got in 10.9 have had their keybinds set to the buttons L1 for the emote wheel and R1 for the phrase wheel. These two additions got criticized a little at the beginning of the update, not for being bad features, but having atrocious keybinds and functionality. Now, we could always rebind keys to what felt comfortable for us, but do you really think the average Joe Fall Guys player is doing all that? No, they're not. This is a great quality of life change for the casual players who haven't changed their keybinds already. Number 7, Skip Round and Explorer has had its keybinds changed as well. The Skip Round button has been changed to R on keyboards and D-pad right on controller. This is most likely a product of them changing the emote wheel and phrase wheel keybinds as well. Overall, I like all of these keybind changes. They just make a lot more sense for where your hands will actually be while trying to perform these actions. Last but not least, number 8, reduced control when ragdolling in the air. This was a massive issue that I talked about at length in my update 10.9 video. Most of your airtime ragdolls are going to be in survival rounds and from explosives, but if you can just counter steer your way to safety 95% of the time, it can make for some boring gameplay that often leads to the winner of the game being an RNG. The best way I can explain how this feels with yeet skips and things like the Kraken is this. If you get hit by a yeetus and you don't ragdoll, everything is the same and you get about the same distance that you would have gotten when 10.9's new physics dropped. But if you do ragdoll by that yeetus, or better yet, Kraken's tentacles, pause? Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, you will have a much tougher time steering yourself through the air. Ragdolling through the air feels like you just gained 50 pounds. Either way, with physics changes as drastic as the ones in the Fall Forever update, you're bound to have some oversights, and mid-air control was for sure one of them. I'm glad that they've decided to be quick with this change and not let people have 6 months to get used to something like this and then revert it back. If there are any more physics changes that Mediatonic plans to do, I hope they would do it ASAP so that we can get towards a more standardized control set as soon as possible. This is going to be a big summer. We've got leaks of mobile potentially releasing within the next 2 weeks, maybe even on June 25th, even though it'll most likely just be an announcement. But we also have an entire roadmap that I haven't even got a chance to talk about just yet. Not to mention the 2 things on the June side of the roadmap that we still haven't gotten. I plan on covering all of that in my next video, so stay tuned. Drop me a like if you enjoyed and subscribe so you don't miss another video. Have a great day. Peace out.